Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in. A beautiful, beautiful car, no doubt. A $300,000 automobile. But unfortunately, or fortunately, this is not the reason. This beautiful Bentley is not the reason that I've decided to stop here briefly at Richmond Street in downtown Toronto. A very sad scene. It's not something I want to make little of. Hi, my name's Hussein Zaidi. Thank you for tuning in. I'm a recovering addict myself, right? And so I was walking by, and this is the kind of scene that you see nowadays, and I wanted to make some content around addiction and substance abuse and what have you, mental health issues, things of this nature. I'm sure the security guard's done his job and made sure that the guy's alive, and maybe that's not his job. I was a security guard myself. But what are you gonna do? Like, either the guy is... Have you tried Narcan, bro? Is he alive? Yeah. He is alive? Good job. Good job. He's done his job. He's made sure the guy's alive. Bro, this is not cool, man. You're making the rest of us street people and recovery people look bad, bro. You need to get on with your life and things like that. Nice pumps, bro. If you end up on YouTube, bro, then that's what happens, bro. You gotta fear God, bro. Anyway, that's what that is. I was gonna stand there and make this whole scene and try and be like a Pakistani version of Tom Green, but that's not appropriate, of course. I'm not sure if what I did was appropriate, but how are you gonna walk by something like that, and not to mention a stretch limo and then a $300,000 Bentley, and then there's a guy passed out on the street, right? And so, yeah, I'm a recovering weed addict, and this sounds like total shit until I explain to you that I'm diagnosed bipolar and I'm fine, other than if I start smoking weed. And sometimes it's scary. Like in recent years, it's like sometimes just one joint after months can just throw me off the edge. And my psychiatrist would have it that, well, Hussein, bipolar syndrome, this is a chronic condition. And of course, we're talking about weed, and it's everywhere. Like, I'm telling you what, man, weed addiction and the dangers of smoking weed, this is a thing. Like, I'm literally in the process of trying to find workshops, not the workshops, but like, you've got Alcoholics Anonymous. I've got the AA big book in my bag, by the way, a pint-sized version. I might just even take that out and talk about that briefly. So this is totally unprepared. Again, I appreciate you tuning in. This is the second video on this new YouTube channel that I've started. This is where you start. For me, after 18 months in jail, getting out, this YouTube channel and this opportunity at life again, this is where I'm starting. I experienced a total personal transformation in jail. I no longer think... It sounds bizarre, and you may not believe me. I don't think negative thoughts anymore. You'll say, what? I explained that in the last video. Like, the title of which is, I just got released from jail and this is what I learned. Basically, you should always just consider how things could be worse. And if you do this, you'll be grateful. And if you're grateful, that's everything. What that little nigga say? Everything. Anyway, yo, what's the name of that song? Everything. Yo, what that little nigga want? Everything. Everything. What you mean, everything? He just shows up and he was like, everything. The guns, the drugs, the lists. So this is Richmond Street and somewhere in these environs. I forget the cross street there. I like to name the cross streets. We're coming up on Jarvis, where I'm currently staying at a homeless shelter. And this is just pre-rush hour Toronto, like the silence. Actually, it's Sunday. That's why it's so quiet. Okay, there you go. It's Sunday. Okay, so now addiction and substance abuse, things like this. So it's like this movie, How High or something like that, with this Dave Chappelle, funny weed movie, right? From way back when, 30 years ago, watched it at university. Hello, that dates me. I just turned 50 in May, by the way. So he's at this recovery meeting, and there's all these hardcore drug users, and he gets up and he talks. It's a thing. That's the thing. He talks about weed. He talks about weed. He talks about weed. Beautiful scene of family and joy and happiness. Don't mind me putting you on YouTube, you good, beautiful people, and enjoy your visit and stay with your mom. Stranger danger. Don't even look at a stranger. Have fun in Torontopia, guys, and please come back and spend some of your bazookas while you're here. Anyway, this was silly, but I knew they wouldn't say. Oh, I keep pressing the button. I'm getting used to this. Like the full screen, I keep hitting the power button and it goes off, and then I'm like, uh-oh, did I screw this up again? I was very happy with the sound on the last video. The traffic, like, so there was some kind of sound dampening, and pretty much apart from my pathetic intro on that video, I could be heard, and the subtitles, I'm assuming, are going to work just fine. I'm currently uploading the first video, and I'm very excited. I wasn't planning to shoot another video, but this is a talking point, and seeing something like that guy just lying there, just laid out in front of this beautiful building, and there's a Bentley there. I didn't even see the Bentley until I started recording. And yes, that is a $300,000 car with all options. It's amazing, right? It's like you have skyscrapers and then like slums right next door to this skyscraper, right? This is like what you would see in different parts of the world, like third world countries, more or less. And this is the kind of thing that you see here now, like the homeless problem and the mental health problem is tied to the addiction problem. The biggest organization out here, government funded, not government funded, it's a huge multi-billion-dollar monster with tentacles reaching into the criminal justice system and the social service system. It's called CAMH, the Center for Addictions and Mental Health. CAM, Charlie Alpha Mary Hotel, the Center for Addictions and Mental Health. So let's do our civic duty. People see me walking in the middle of the street and they're like, who is this guy? But when I do something like this, they're like, oh, he's not such a bad guy, right? Just to save it from coming underneath one of these goddamn cars, right? Now they'll be like, oh, he's not such a bad guy. Because everyone's tuned into me too, everyone's tuned into their favorite radio station. What's in it for me? Okay, so like CAMH, I call them ScamH, right? Because I was taken there and they forcibly injected me with a drug, more or less, called Abilify. It's like one of these cool marketing names, right? Abilify. And what it does is it de-abilifies you. It de-abilifies you. Right? So basically you feel like shit for days, right? And I couldn't do nothing. Basically, I was like, it sucked, and it was ostensibly one of the reasons I went back to smoking weed. Like, for my personal history with medication, as far as that goes, or with my problems as that were in life, as in, there goes my career, there goes my marriage, there goes all my possessions times 10, ending up on the streets and shelters and psych wards. And I just got out of jail again, 18 months, hopefully, God be praised, and God willing, it's the last time. And I know I'm going around in circles, but if you stick around, I do try and wrap things up. And if you want to shoot me a comment, if any of this is interesting, I'll be happy to oblige you with whatever links or info or insight I can. I'm at your service, of course. I do these videos for myself, and I have had a lot of success on YouTube in the past. I've had scores and scores of videos with thousands of views on various channels, and At least one of them has been, one of my big channels was taken down by YouTube, @bipolar Muslim addict. So I'm currently appealing to get that put back on. And I explained to these guys a couple of times, including on x.com, that I've got cannabis use disorder, I like to call it. If I don't smoke weed, I'm fine. If I start smoking weed, then basically all bets are off. One joint or 1 week or 1 month of smoking, it's hard to say, but then I become manic. The mania, like the switch gets flicked in my brain, and it may be severe, it may not be severe, it may be severe and last for a day, and so it may last for weeks or even months. My bipolar is very pronounced. They can literally go for months. Like the time I went to SCAMH, the Center for Addictions and Mental Health, right? And I'll talk more about my problems with big pharma. I do believe that anything with a big in front of it, like big government, big business, big energy, big oil, big tobacco, big pharma, anything big is, they should have something called big religion, right? But then, I guess that somehow that one didn't work out. I'm very religious myself. I'm a Muslim. Yo soy musulmano. Y mi esposa linda vieja, my ex-wife, is from Bogota, Colombia. She's una cristiana. Real, no como aquí. Anyway, she's a real Christian. She reads the Bible every year on a given year. She's read it multiple times. The last time I talked to her, almost 2 years ago, I suppose, she told me that she was going to study the Bible this time round. She was going to study it, and she wasn't going to read the daily Bible reading program whereby you finish the whole thing in a year. Like by Christmas time, she's already into Revelations. So I just had a revelation that it's been 12 minutes. This is Jarvis and Richmond. Jarvis is north and south. That's north up there. Kind of busy intersection. Still moderate traffic. It's a Sunday after all. Yo, kickflip, brother, please, for YouTube, brother. All right, I'm just being silly. I do these things, nobody minds. It's Toronto. Like you saw this guy laying out in front of the street, right? And then in front of this building, right? And so people are used to these things now. You'll see anything in a big city nowadays. So now, addictions, mental health, and these kinds of things. This is what I'm talking about here. My own history, like with medication, all I can say is that in 2011/2012, this is when I was arrested for the first time. 2011/2012 is when I was given bipolar medication called lithium. Like that's the standard medication. And there's a reason that the late and great Kurt Cobain, rest in peace, of Nirvana fame, wrote a song called Lithium. There's a reason. And I said this to a doctor at SCAMH, right? I was manic at the time, and like, I'm a different person. I mean, I refer you to the YouTube channel links in the description there if you want to, like, just explore some of my own history. Thank you, man. God bless you, bro. Have a great day, sir. So, nice people in Canada. Like, it's the best country in the world. I'm telling you what, it just is. So now, basically, my life fell apart either because of the medication or because of separation anxiety, because I separated from my wife at this time, right? And there's a long history, and I don't want to get into it. And I've written about it, and I'm writing about it, and I talk about it, so we can get into that. For the purposes of this video, I just wanted to just briefly touch on some high points. The homelessness, tied into the addiction, tied into the mental health, right? Tied into, of course, the criminal justice system, which is a huge other set of discussions, which I will come to down the line. But for now, addiction and mental health, right? Do drugs make you crazy, or do crazy people do drugs, right? So here in Canada, people are so nice, like this guy who just waved. And the Canadian ethic is one of total inclusivity and compassion, like to an extreme. I advise Canucks and Canadians in general that there is such a thing as too much kindness. There's a saying of Imam Ali, peace be upon him, that I like to quote, which is that strictness is sometimes the real kindness. Strictness is sometimes, or firmness or strictness is sometimes the real kindness. In Islam, I mentioned on the last video, you should turn the other cheek when appropriate. Let's put it that way. Like in the book of John or the book of Luke, peace be upon them, if someone comes and takes my hat, just grabs it off my head and says, now what are you going to do, man? I should take off my glasses and give those to him. This is what the book of Luke says. If a guy takes your shirt, give him your shoes, these kinds of things. And if someone slaps you, turn the other cheek and let him slap the other cheek. Well, what if someone breaks into your house? What if someone rapes your neighbor? What if someone attacks your country and he's part of an army of such people attacking your country? This kind of thing is just not appropriate, right? It may work sometimes on an individual level, and it may work in general on a larger scale. Prophet Muhammad was tortured and basically oppressed literally for years by the people of his city, like they say, which is the truth, that a prophet is not accepted in his own city. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his family was literally driven out of his city. They tried to kill him on many occasions in battles and by himself, these kinds of things. And they killed scores, if not hundreds of his followers, these kinds of things, and this went on for years. They kept him, like at one point he was basically confined in a cave. Like, I just got out of jail after 18 months. For 2 or 3 years there was this cave or some place, I forget, owned by his uncle, the dad of Imam Ali, peace be upon him, who us Shias follow as part of the family of Muhammad. Anyway, I don't want to get carried away on that note, but all I'm trying to say is that they oppressed him and he was in exile in this place called Shibi Abu Talib. It was like a cave or something like this. Abu Talib was his uncle who I spoke of. And they were just like, they couldn't go out. They just couldn't go out of this place. They were trapped in there, and all their followers were in there. And for a period of 2 or 3 years or something like this, they faced the most heinous conditions of deprivation, and they're hungry and all these kinds of things. You see lots of bikes right now in Toronto. It's amazing. Like, just in the 18 months that I've been in and out of jail, I am going to buy a bike, I've realized. And what I thought to myself is, all this whole time, among other things, I mean, I've been thinking about how dangerous it is and what would happen if there was an accident. So I'll be careful, and that's why there will be no accidents. And you shouldn't even mention bad outcomes. And so there will be nothing but safe driving and good living. And the consideration, one of the considerations I had was, what about the winter time? Like here in Toronto, it snows. Winter is more or less January. Like, you could go up to December without snow. So December to, let's say, April, there's 5 good months of what if it's snowy and stuff like that. Well, A, they have snow plows and they clean the streets. B, I've considered a dirt bike, and I know this is totally off topic. I don't know what to tell you. It's totally off topic, right? B, they clean the streets. A, there may or may not be snow. B, they clean the streets. There's street plows. I might consider a dirt bike. I have, but I won't go there. I do want to get a racing bike, just a nice racing bike. Don't ask me why. They look cool, right? And people take you seriously. There's all kinds of e-bikes and do-it-yourself kind of contraptions that you see, and I would like to just have something whereby it looks great and people are like, great. It's like I told you, I was doing push-ups. I started doing push-ups in jail, and after like literally 30 years of working out and going to gyms, like since the age of 18, and I'm 50 right now, like seriously, right? So I finally have like a body I'm proud of. Like, you can see through 2 t-shirts that I work out and these kinds of things, if you look closely, of course. Haha. So now, going around in circles. So now, when Prophet Muhammad's time came and he had the upper hand, he basically did what Imam Ali, peace be upon him, counseled, which is that when you overcome your enemy, quote unquote, you should set them free. This kind of thing. When you overcome them, you should let them go by way of thanks of having been able to overcome them in the first place, if you can believe that. So Prophet Muhammad, the Quran prophesied, and it did occur. The Quran said you're going to be going back to Mecca. He emigrated to Medina. That's when the Islamic calendar starts. He was driven out of his home city. He went to the neighboring city up the way called Medina. Still a large city, very large city, the second largest city or the largest city in Saudi Arabia. And he built a following there, because while a prophet is not accepted in his homeland, he is accepted in other places, is the thing, right? It's like there's this amazing Japanese animation cartoon that I encourage you to look up. You could probably buy it on Google Movies or something like this. It's called Black and White, and it's just a beautiful, like, amazing, kind of like semi-old school, kind of legendary animation piece. It's a full-length animation movie, and the guy who basically, rough life, rough, good dog, what a good boy. I don't know if you can hear that beautiful dog. I fell in love and learned to love dogs here in Toronto because of my work as a security guard. Like, I was talking to the security guard down there, and I mentioned that I had been a security guard for years. And if you're working at a concierge, I could almost see one of the buildings that I used to work at, KPMG building at Bay and Adelaide, 333 Bay Street. It's the Deloitte and Touche and KPMG building, full of lawyers and accountants and things like this. A very high-end site, if I may. That's a business site. If you work at a, and I've worked at similar condominium sites, very high-end, you know, through the grace of God. Like, I've had amazing jobs and an amazing experience, and that's off topic as well, right? I mean, if you're grateful, then you'll be happy, and you will be grateful as long as you keep in mind every day and every moment, among other things, that things could be so much worse, and you'll be grateful for everything. Like me right now, I'm grateful for everything. Every single thing I'm experiencing now in this external world is something that I've been missing for 18 months. Like everything, I was just having a smoke. Right? I don't smoke cigarettes, I smoke cigar tobacco, and I rolled one up on the last video here. The video I just mentioned, how I just was released from jail and blah blah blah. Video number 1 on this channel. I'm assuming it's uploaded by now and it should be live. Anyway, I basically showed you how I smoke cigarettes, because that's a big deal too. Like, it's like Aristotle said, that an unexamined life is not worth living. And I have a great time in life, and I'm not like I'm the furthest thing from like the rule following kind of tight ass kind of guy, like, oh, like, you know, like very, very methodical. And I mean, I am very methodical. What I'm trying to say is that the rules set you free, is what it is. Like, if you do a thing correctly, then you don't have to worry about it anymore. If you just stop eating any sugar, apart from in fruits and things like this, just don't have any sugar at all. Don't put any sugar in anything you eat, and don't eat any sugary snacks. Then you don't have to worry about it, and just never eat that stuff. Once, like in maybe months, you may have something like this. That's called it just happened, or someone offered you something. And it's like my dad said, that if someone gives you a gift out of love, then you should accept it. So I'm just trying to finish up here, guys, and if I'm lucky, I can hit the half-hour mark. My goal is not to make extended videos. My goal is actually to cross the road to that convenience store yonder and talk to the guy and potentially get passport photos taken, because I've been wandering around with like a $1,400 check, for example, that I don't know how to cash. I can't cash at Money Mart. I can't open any bank accounts. My last bank account with Tank Destroyers, aka Toronto Dominion Bank, that has been closed. I want to at some point talk to you more about the travails of homelessness and things like this. I'm currently living in a homeless shelter just around the corner there. I don't and will not film in or around that place because there's privacy issues, and even if there weren't, I just don't want to do that. Like, I used to be the guy who would film inside such places, and I'd also get into fights with people living in said places, but not anymore, right? So now, homelessness and addiction. So now Prophet Muhammad, once again, he was victorious and more or less conquered, as it were, Mecca. There wasn't really a war. They basically just gave up or something like this. I mean, I don't know all the historic details. There were many wars. This was not one of them. They just showed up, all the Muslims, and now there were so many thousands of them, and they were unified. And there's a weather helicopter up there. It's a beautiful city, Toronto. It's an amazing city. It really is an amazing city. And I tell people, if you haven't seen Toronto, you haven't seen Canada. If you haven't lived in Toronto, you haven't lived in Canada. You really need to visit other countries, but in order to know another country, you need to visit it. And you need to visit it, not just visit it. In order to know it, you need to live there. And when I say live there, like at least 3 weeks to 3 months to 6 months is this kind of thing. Like, mi esposa y yo vivir y nacer, not nacer, I pretend I know Spanish, but it kind of works. Like, I get some of the wording right. So we visited Bogotá en 2008, Colombia, su país, y vivir ahí para 6 meses. We lived there for 6 months, like Christmas of 2007 to like June of 2008. And then that's when I learned Spanish like this, and that's when I obviously got to know all her relatives and these kinds of things. Anyway, so now Prophet Muhammad forgave all these people, right? Like, there was hundreds or thousands of them, and they were all more or less captives. Like, the whole city, where he basically just walked in and took the whole place over. And if you know anything about the medieval world, among other things, like, I exhort people to read in jail. Read every day, it's worth going to jail for. If you exercise every day, it's worth going to jail for. If you pray/meditate every day, it's worth going to jail for. Any of these 4 things, just any of them, if you find yourself learning about it and you do it every day, it's worth being in jail almost indefinitely if you do these things. In fact, certainly, given if you're healthy and you're in a jail in a place like Canada, like, there's people that go to jail and they are indefinitely happy there. They just don't care one way or the other, being in jail or outside of jail. Anyway, I didn't want to talk about jail, and that's not what I'm talking about. I do want to wrap this up. I do have a shot of wrapping this up by the 30-minute mark, and so I'm going to try hard to do this. So now, Prophet Muhammad, all these people in Mecca said, what are you going to do with us now? And he asked them, peace be upon him and his family, what do you think I should do with you? All the prisoners, thousands of them, all including all the tribal leaders who've been his enemies and tortured him and his followers for years. And he said, what do you think I'm going to do with you? And they said, Anta Karim wabna Karim. You're actually a beautiful and generous person, and you're the son of beautiful, generous people. Like, your ancestors are well known, right? And the family you come from is well known. And so he let them all go. He just let them all go, including killers and murderers and all these kinds of things. So this was when appropriate. But in general, in Islam, you cannot enable and let people get away with oppression. So I will continue this train of thought. I did want to just show you this poor guy lying there passed out, but I didn't mind filming him, because if someone does something publicly, and this is an Islamic thing too, you shouldn't reveal people's secrets. But if it's a public figure, or someone does something openly and they don't have any shame about it, then you can talk about it as a social point. So the question is, why do people do drugs? I was just talking about this at someone in the homeless place, a friend of mine called Dave, today. There's 5 reasons that I've come up with that people do drugs, and I'll try and continue on this note. And these are well-known things, and one of them may be the right one, or there may be others. These are the kinds of things I'm going to talk about. So is it because there's a so-called hole inside of you that you're trying to fill? Or is it because you're lacking love? That's why you do drugs. Or is it because are heartbroken, right? Or is it because you don't have a job in a real life? Is it because you're bored or complacent, or is it something else? Thank you for watching. See you later.